all our dear friends. Thank you for joining us. I would really want to begin with introducing Dr. Newton Kondaveti and Dr. Lakshmi Newton. Our teachers, many of us are already very familiar with them, but since we have many friends, almost 250 friends who registered today to come, they have not met Dr. Newton and Dr. Lakshmi before. So it is so important to just introduce all of us to Dr. Newton and Dr. Lakshmi. And I'm going to read something out to introduce them. If you can spotlight sir and ma'am, please, that will be great. So Dr. Newton and Dr. Lakshmi are like a, and again, I'm reading this really from us, from all the students, what we feel about them, I'm reading rather than a professional bio. So kindly hear the emotion and the sentiment, and you can get lots more about their bio on the internet, etc. So Dr. Newton and Dr. Lakshmi are founders of the proposed Quantum Life University. They are like a breath of fresh air, filled with the aroma of unconditional love, activating ourselves with hope, with solutions and healing. They are new age enlightened masters who are traveling the road to world peace. They are the founders, as I said, of the proposed Quantum Life University. This is a mammoth 150-acre spiritual science university at Vikarabad, which is near Hyderabad in India. They conduct a number of different programs, courses, all around soul science. It's all about awakening our inner wisdom. They do the Soul Coach Transformation Program, which is a must attend for all those seeking spiritual wisdom. The course, which is presently conducted in 2 languages, Telugu and English, consists of 2 semesters of 10 days spread over a year and is completely free of cost, including the boarding. So, friends are welcome to do this with them. Both Dr. Newton and Dr. Lakshmi are medical doctors with qualifications of MD and MBBS respectively, but calling them doctors of the soul would be most apt. They are really soul doctors. Very few masters like them are so approachable and generous in their teachings, in giving their time, in offering practical applications in day-to-day life. Together they have traveled over 120 countries around the world, have published several books and research publications, and attending their workshop, friends, is like an unforgettable gift. My life transformed, many of our friends, our lives transformed by being in their presence. And love in a teaching role is a perfect description, since we have so many principals and teachers here also today. They're actually healing you as they are teaching you, and they are really disseminating that love. And together as a team, each of them personally, unconditionally takes every student on this journey. Today, we are going to talk about the journey to acceptance. But, really for us, those of us who've gone through the journey with them over the last several years, we cannot, overstate our gratitude for what Dr. Newton and Dr. Lakshmi have done for our lives. In addition to this, I also want to share a little bit with all of us. I forgot to introduce who I am. My name is Ganesh, and I am one of the many students. Actually, anyone could have been doing this interview, but I got a chance today, and it's really important to hear our teachers. And I wanted to share some learnings that I have. I had my first education with Dr. Newton and Dr. Lakshmi learnings in 2013. And I wrote down 5 learnings that I have. And I thought it would be relevant for all of us before we begin this AHA conversation. So firstly, I learned about pursuing the middle path. I only heard theory, Buddha gave the theory in real life and not known what is middle path. How can you be kind and still you can be running a business or running how can you be in the middle? How can you find balance? So very important lesson, finding balance. I learned that it was possible to find nirvana in the marketplace, that I don't have to run away from life, from relationships, from all the worldly pleasures that we often enjoy, to actually find peace. That peace and nirvana can be found in our everyday life, that there is no such thing as work-life balance, that work is not the punishment we endure for life, that work also can be as joyous as the so-called life that we seek outside of work or on the weekend. Every day can be a weekend. And then that relationships and challenges in our life are our teachers. Today we are in the midst of a massive challenge, and it's so important to accept and embrace. And very important lesson that came from Dr. Newton, Dr. Lakshmi, is the master is within us. They never put themselves on a pedestal. They're very beautiful masters who always tell us that you have to find the wisdom within you, the inner master. We have the inner strength to deal with this situation, is what their learnings are. And that is something that we carry every day in our lives as a student body. And I learned the importance of taking a scientific approach, and as an engineer, I was always trying to find logic and meaning in everything. And they took a very scientific approach to spirituality. And that is a very, very important piece for me. And most importantly, and finally, friends, before we begin this conversation, it is not theory that we get from Dr. Newton and Dr. Lakshmi. We get real example of who to be. It's not what they say, it is who they are being in every single moment. And so much of what draws all of us here is who they are being and their presence. And sir and ma'am, welcome to the AHA conversation. And we are so grateful that you have given us such a long time on actually what is a very special day today. And we will share that a little bit later. But coming to the topic of today, the journey to acceptance. When I first, we thought about this topic, it was very difficult, friends, for us, because just since morning, I have heard of 4 people in our friends and family circle who have died. In the last 10 days, I have myself heard about several deaths, people suffering, people gasping for breath. It is a time of such pain and suffering. And even this word acceptance seems so distant. And, and we were thinking of this topic and we said, what can we, is it even possible? The question of acceptance, all the deep pain and suffering that we are going through, how do we deal with this? And that is going to be my first question to Dr. Newton and Dr. Lakshmi. How do we deal with this pain and this suffering? And what may be this possible journey to acceptance? For all our friends, just some guidelines. We will continue the conversation till 7:15. So another hour. At 7:15 tentatively, we will begin a meditation. About 20 minutes to 30 minutes, we will meditate all together. It's very powerful to meditate together. And then some of Dr. Newton, Dr. Lakshmi's students and other friends also are welcome to can join for a special surprise at 7:45. So you are welcome to stay back. And we have friends joining here on Zoom, but we also have friends on Facebook. We welcome all the friends on Facebook, also on QLU's channel. And please post your questions. We will try to bring as many of the questions as possible. Sir, ma'am, welcome. How can we deal with all of this trauma? Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Ganesh.
Thank you. Thank you, Ganesh. Thank you, Preeti, the AHA team,
and the QLU team for inviting us. And thank you, my dear friends. Namaskar, my dear friends. You have taken out your precious time to join us in this satsang, or, a meeting of like-minded souls. So, Ganesh, this is such a tough time. Whatever we are experiencing collectively, it's very tough. It's very painful to see pain everywhere around us. It's very painful to see the suffering. And as you have already mentioned, this is really a tough topic right now at this point of time, journey towards acceptance. But if we just look at whatever is happening around us, the suffering, the pain, losing loved ones, suffering with the illness, gasping for breath, there is pain everywhere. There is pain everywhere. That is the truth. So maybe what we are going to share today, sometimes truth is very bitter. In spite of all the pain, with all the empathy, I acknowledge the pain everywhere. But still, what is the solution? At this point of time, do we want to suffer like this? Nobody wants to suffer like this. Nobody wants this suffering. But what should we do? What is the next step? What is the solution? So sometimes we have to go beyond to understand this. If our purpose is to move towards the solution. So there is pain everywhere. And we have realized pain is inevitable. All of us, me, Dr. Newton, you, all of us, we are experiencing this. We are going through this experience. And pain is part of being human. However, we add to our pain and we suffer. When we deny the reality, it creates suffering. So today, let us try to understand what can we do? What can we do at this point of time? Because at the physical level, all the doctors, all the scientists, everyone is doing their best. And they have given us all the guidelines, washing the hands, social distancing, wearing the mask, that we all know. I don't need to repeat that. Now, what I want to share today with all of you, with utmost humility, now it's time for all of us. It's time for all of us to move forward with understanding. Because the evolutionary force is taking us in a direction we don't know. The evolutionary force is just taking us in a direction we don't know where we are going to land. It's like it's a river, a huge river. Everything is flooded. We are all in that river. So if I just give you this example of, if I start swimming against the current of the river, what happens? Maybe for few hours, maybe 1 day, 2 days, I will have that strength to swim against the currents. But after 2 days, after 3 days, maybe after 1 week, I'll be tired. My energies will be drained completely and I'll just drown. That's what is happening. So this river is taking us somewhere, and what can we do now at this point of time? So as we are doing this, there is so much, looking at the suffering everywhere, there is so much of fear, there is so much of panic, and it's very natural. We're all human beings, and it's very natural to experience fear, to experience panic. But if we just understand the way this fear is just taking over, and even the doctors, even the scientists have discovered, they have realized that whenever we are fearful, whenever we are gripped with this fear, so many stress hormones are released in our body. And what happens when those stress hormones are released? Our immunity is lowered. This is a scientific explanation. And when this immunity is lowered, all the infections, everything, we can't breathe because there's so much of anxiety, there is so much of depression. So this fear is not going to take us anywhere, though it's a protective mechanism. But we should not be drowned in that fear. The more we are gripped with this fear, it is just taking over. It's just taking over. And we are becoming so small. And this energy is becoming so huge. So now we just need to understand. Definitely fear is a protective mechanism. But now in this situation, it backfires. So what can be done? Because everywhere it's being told that, no, it's the immunity. Now everybody has come to the point now. Now everything is over. It's all about, even the scientists are just telling us that the best thing is to increase your resistance. The best thing is to raise your immunity. But immunity can't be raised in 1 day, 2 days. So if we just look at our lifestyle, because our ancients, our elders have already given us that wisdom, but somewhere we went far away from that. Like, for example, at least in South India, I remember we have this practice. Whenever somebody comes from outside, they have to wash their hands and feet, and then only they can enter the house. Or even if the relatives come, the first thing they do is they give a pot of water and ask them to wash their feet and hands, and then only they can enter. At the same time, we all know that all the kitchens in India, they are like pharmacy. We have all the ingredients. We have all the ingredients, and whatever is being told today, it's all about the turmeric, it's all about the ginger, it's all about, I'm just talking about the diet. And then the third thing is, all these practices, somewhere we have moved away from these practices. And now again, we are getting back to those practices, which are very useful for us, which are just telling us to be closer to nature, not only to the outer nature, but even to our inner nature. So this is how, when we are just, if we can just elevate ourselves, if we can just be in that higher vibration, because there's nothing else we can do right now at this point of time. The situation, we have to face this challenge. But now the question is, are we going to face this challenge drowned in fear, or are we going to face this challenge keeping ourselves in a higher vibratory state? So today, let us learn, what can we do? What can we do to be in that state? And Buddha gave a beautiful term, and his most important contribution was about this. Tha, means complete acceptance. Buddha is not an ordinary man. He was a scientist. He faced everything. He faced all challenges in his life, and he realized himself. So what he was just sharing was about this tatata. complete acceptance of everything as it is. In English, we can call it suchness. And what happens when you accept everything as it is? You preserve your energy. Right now, we need to preserve our energy. We can't lose our energy. We just can't drain our energy. So in that acceptance, we preserve our energy. And when we preserve our energy, then only the transcendence can happen. Only then we can understand what is happening. Only when we can understand, then only it is possible to transform, or only then it is possible to find freedom from whatever we are experiencing. So the first best thing, what happens when we accept, though it's very difficult, it's a journey, it's a practice. And when we accept, we preserve our energy. That itself is a great blessing. And the second is, like, for example, if you start losing your energy, what happens? You're becoming so weak. Your immunity is lowered, and we just can't do anything. We can't do anything for ourselves. We can't do anything for our friends, our family. We can't do anything for anybody. And that's what is happening. Everybody is physically exhausted. Everybody is mentally exhausted. There is so much of fear. All the doctors are now collapsing. They've been working. But where is the energy? There is no energy. So now at this point of time, we need to understand that we need to preserve our energy. We need to raise our vibration to that level where we are not affected. That doesn't mean we have to resign. No, when we preserve our energy, then we can focus all our energy. We can do our best, staying in that state of higher vibration. And that helps. So I just remember about this a philosopher. I don't remember his name, but he said there are only two things. Things we can control, things we cannot control. So a wise man has to focus his energies on what he can control, or she can control. We can focus only on that, because there are so many things which are not in our hands. So in that case, when we focus all our energy on that aspect, on those things which we can control, we can do our best. And what we cannot control, what is not in our hands, we have to accept. Then only we can be peaceful. So I just want to share this story. It's not a story, because all of us need to reach to that state. We have to practice. It's not easy. We just can't reach to that state of peace. We have to practice. And today's topic is all about that practice. We have to journey in that direction, all of us together, holding our hands, supporting each other, helping each other. So I just remember this story of a mystic who had a wonderful, handsome son, 20-year-old son. He was so intelligent. He was so loving. Everybody loved him. The whole village loved him. And one day, suddenly, he dies. Everybody was in a shock. What is this? 20-year-old. Such a loving boy. Everybody loved him. He was so loving. How come? How could this happen? And this mystic was just sitting there, and after some time, he started laughing. He started laughing. So everyone around him said, "Are you mad or what? Can't you see what has happened? Are you in a shock? Is that the only reason why you're behaving like this?" So then this master said, "No, I'm not in a shock. Yes, definitely. I felt miserable when he died. It was so painful. It was so painful. It was so miserable. But after a few seconds, I started thinking, understanding that when he was not there, before his birth, I was all alone. I was all alone, but I was happy. There was no misery. There was no pain. When he was not there, I was happy. But how come today, when he is not there, I'm feeling so miserable? I'm feeling so lonely. So, this understanding, this acceptance has helped me. It has helped me. So, who am I to ask that force who has given me this beautiful gift? He has taken this gift back. Who am I to complain? Because that dream is over, that beautiful dream is over. So, my dear friends, it is so difficult to reach to this state of understanding, but what else is possible? Because grieving is very natural. We are all human beings and we need to grieve, but there are also stages in that grieving process. The first stage is we deny. That's part of the coping mechanism, we deny. And the second step or the second stage is we become angry. We are so angry. Why me? Why did this happen to me, my family? Why me? Why me? Why nobody helped? Why the doctors are not helping? Why the hospitals are not helping? Why the government? That's anger. It's very natural. And we go through that stage. And then the third stage is bargaining. We bargain. God, please, I will do this. Please do this for me. Please do this to my children. Please do this to my family. That's the bargaining. And then that also gets over. And we reach to this stage of depression. That means we realize that, yes, it's over. We have lost. We have lost that loved person. Till this point of time, we have been in denial. We have not accepted it. And even this depression is also not acceptance, but it is very passive. We are depressed. There's no meaning. We feel meaningless. So now the last stage of this grieving process is acceptance. We need to reach to that point of acceptance because that is the reality. It's already over. It has happened. We lost. So that acceptance will make us to move forward. So if we understand this grieving process, it is natural. We go through all these phases. But when we accept things, when we have this higher understanding, all these stages, we can just, it just done, maybe in few days, in few months. But if we don't accept, we are denying, we are fighting against, it just continues. And we suffer. We suffer. That's the only result. Because in this physical reality, it is so painful to lose our loved ones. But the reality is we have lost them. We have lost them, and that is the truth. And finally, maybe in 1 week or 10 days or 1 month or 6 months, we need to reach to this understanding. We need to accept that that is the reality. And then only we just move forward, my dear friends. So this is how we have to accept the reality. The more we fight against the reality, the more we just lose our energy. We drain our energy. So fighting is not the solution. We have to deal with the situation. We have to face the situation. And for that, we need energy at the physical level. And we need that peaceful state at the mental level. And we also need this understanding at the spiritual level, that there are many things which are beyond us. Till this point of time, we thought we can control everything. But this virus, this little minute virus has brought these situations in our life, that there are many things that are beyond our control. So what can we do? What can we do now? The only way is, the first thing what we are not supposed to do is stop complaining. Because at this point of time, this is such an important point, and people are fighting, complaining, criticizing each other, but with that, nothing can be done. Instead, let us find the solutions. In this situation, in this period of panic, what can I do? What is the best thing I can do? Like, for example, everywhere, people are suffering. So whatever you have, you just offer it to the society. Maybe you have money, just, help people who are suffering. And if you have cars, like, for example, many people, but just because there are no ambulances, they were just giving if you have 2 cars, just give 1 car, so that people can be helped in so many different ways. And there are all these people, daily workers, they're suffering, they don't have even food. So just offer them the food. And for those who have this wisdom, because the most important thing right now at this point of time is to raise the vibration. To raise the vibration. Because collectively, if we can raise our vibration from this fear, if we are more balanced, more peaceful, it's going to be completely different, my dear friends. Because I just want to share this, because we experienced it personally a few years back. We were traveling to Mexico. Somebody invited us, some friend invited us to Mexico. At that time, suddenly, we were in US and we had to catch a flight to Mexico. Exactly at that time, there was this swine flu. Everybody was dying. Whatever was happening right now was happening in Mexico. It was like an epidemic. So people were just dying, pain everywhere, panic everywhere. And people were just moving out of Mexico. They were just moving. They were just, leaving everything and moving out of Mexico. At that time, at that point of time, we were in the airport. And the officials in the airport asked us, everybody is moving out of Mexico. You want to travel to Mexico? Why do you want to risk? It's not a choice. We were already there. But we thought, if we are already here, if this universal force has made us to be here at this point of time, let us do something. Let us help them to raise their vibration. So we decided to move. We decided to go to Mexico at that point of time. Nobody on the roads. It was really, really a tough time. We went there. And people were in fear, so much of panic. But we were already there. Now we can't go back because we were placed there at that point of time. So we just started meeting the groups. We were just, meditating. We were just empowering them. We were just helping them. We were just supporting them. And my dear friends, all of them started meditating. All of them could come out of their fear. They were practicing all that they had to practice at the physical level, but they just came out of that fear. And it was so beautiful. Within few days, everything just became so normal. And that phase is over now. and we have experienced it. We were there at that point of time physically. We have seen it physically. We were there energetically at that point of time, physically, energetically there, my dear friends. So even now, whatever we are experiencing now, it's a difficult phase. It's a very tough phase. But how many of us are willing to shift our vibration? How many of us are willing to preserve our energy? How many of us are willing to find solutions at this point of time?
Oh, that's brilliant. Dr. Lakshmi shared beautiful nuggets of wisdom. And we know that it's a collective trauma. It's not only just individual trauma, for many it's individual trauma, but even hearing the news, it also is affecting us. Definitely, it's affecting everyone. And I can say that there are different aspects in our consciousness, and a part of us which is getting affected is the most vulnerable part, the child part in us. Recently, I had a situation at home. My mother was listening to all those stories and news and everything. She was so much fearful, you know. She was almost trembling, shaking, and even in the home, she's wearing masks. And I sat with her, and that day I was speaking to her about life after death. I told her that I'm going to die, and you are going to die. Nobody is going to be alive forever. One day or other, we're going to leave the bodies. Why do you fear? No need to fear. And I asked her to meditate. She was already a meditator, but her inner child was so much traumatized by hearing all the news, so much fear, so much fear. And I told her the sloka from Bhagavad Gita, from the second chapter, 22nd sloka, the great wisdom given by Lord Sri Krishna. Whoever is leaving the bodies, because the body has become sick and it is now torn and worn out, just like a garment, we discard it and we wear new clothes. We wear new bodies. Vasansi jeevnani yadha vihaya navani gruhnati naroparani tadha sarirani vihaya jeevnani anyani samyati navani dehi. Such an eternal wisdom, such an eternal truth. And after listening to that shloka, my mother, from that day, she stopped fearing. She is utilizing her time, meditating and going inwardly for 4 hours, 5 hours, morning, afternoon, night. I know right now what's happening around the globe. Many are experiencing trauma. It's not less than post-traumatic stress disorder. Many are sleepless. They have palpitations. There's symptoms like breathlessness and so much of stress. And if we understand that there is a wiser part in all of us, every one of us, we need to awaken that part of us, which can see the bigger version of the reality. For example, when we zoom in, and it's a narrow version, we see pain, suffering, and everywhere, and a big challenge in front of us. Think about all those times, centuries back, many yugas. Earth has already, we faced so many challenges. It's not new. This kind of epidemics, pandemics were not new at all on planet Earth. This is one of the challenge which has come to us. Collectively, we can do something. And with a great understanding about our soul, we can do something. So right now, it's really very important to, as Dr. Lakshmi said, raising our vibrations from fear to love, moving toward, journeying towards the truth. I like the title today. Ganesh chosen this title, Journey to Acceptance. And this is really a journey. But if we consider this journey is from birth to death, that is not the journey. It's an eternal journey. We are the souls. I acknowledge all the pain. We acknowledge all the suffering that's happening on our planet Earth right now. Definitely, there is a lot of suffering. And many people lost their lives. Many people. I lost my family members and friends. But it's so important to have that wisdom. Always remember the eternal wisdom of the soul. The soul is eternal. We're just leaving the body, vacating the body, and we do come back. It's not that once we are gone, is we gone. Those who exit from this room, they enter into a new room and they come back again to our planet Earth. They reincarnate. And we need to raise our, levels of acceptance. And a beautiful word Dr. Lakshmi shared about suchness and total acceptance. Buddha used that very often. Tathata, the word, is so beautiful. Means total acceptance. But it's a journey to acceptance, friends. It's not easy. The inner child in us, the more wounded, we resist. Oh, how can I? What is the creator doing there, sitting, just watching the show here? Who is this fellow who created everything? The Almighty or all that is. And we really sometimes are confused in these states. And it's so important that we need to bring a new understanding, new way of looking at things so that we can do something in this, even though there is a pandemic, even though there is panic everywhere.
Yeah, I just want to share one incident here where we all can apply it to what's happening to us right now. So there was this pregnant deer, and it's about to deliver its baby. So it was searching for a very safe place in the forest. So it just went and found a place where there is dry grass, and there were all these dry trees, and in front there was a river flowing. And as it was just preparing itself to deliver the baby, suddenly there was, lightning, clouds, and it started raining heavily. And before that, there was this lightning, and this lightning struck the trees behind, and there was fire everywhere in the forest behind. And it started raining heavily, and river also started flooding. There was so much of water in the front. And the deer looked to the right side. There was a hunter with his arrow ready to shoot it. On the left side, there was a lion ready to pounce on it. So just try to understand the situation, my dear friends. We are also exactly in this situation. So behind, it just can't go behind because all the trees, the forest is on fire. There is fire everywhere behind. In front, there is water, flooding. It can't move forward. Right side, hunter, ready. Left side, the lion, ready to pounce on it. So what to do now? What to do now? The deer Nothing is in its control now. So what can the deer do? What did the deer do? There's so many questions here. Who attacked? Did the hunter attack or the lion attacked or what happened? But in this situation, the deer completely accepted the situation. Yes, there is danger everywhere. I just can't move front, back, right, or left. What can I do now? The deer started focusing on giving birth to the baby. That was the only thing possible for that deer, my dear friends. It just completely focused its energy on giving birth to that baby. You know what happened? You know what happened? A miracle happened. Suddenly there was a lightning. And this lightning has completely blinded that hunter. He released the arrow. It just went and hit the lion. So the hunter became blind. Lion died. There was so much of rain that the forest air has completely extinguished. And after a while, the rain also stopped and the river also started flowing normally. So this deer could give birth to its baby and it was alive because it just completely accepted. And the deer did its best. So my dear friends, let us all ask ourselves, where is our focus? Right now, at this point of time, where is our focus? The deer focused on whatever it could do in that moment. The deer did its best. But where is our focus? So please let us all ask ourselves, go within. Where is our focus? Our focus is on suffering, pain, fear, or our focus is on faith and hope.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir, for those wonderful pieces. I'm just reminded of the affirmations that we sometimes say, I am safe, there is hope. And, it is possible even in this time, as you said, to actually preserve our energy. The news takes 50%, WhatsApp takes 40%, remaining 10% we are surviving with. And so it's so important to preserve our energy and to focus on that which we can control.
Yeah, exactly.
We are sitting in Mumbai, we are trying our best to help people in Delhi, but what we cannot control is the oxygen supply or whatever is not in our control. We focus on what we can control. And also, ma'am, you have shared that we really dial down this fear, the volume of this fear. Maybe it's difficult for us normally to take fear out because, the fear is coming again and again. But as much as possible, if we can dial down the volume as a guidance for everybody, maybe we can bring it from 100 to 50, 30, 40, 20. We maybe are less likely to fall sick because we will still preserve our energy.
Maybe it's very difficult to do it all alone, Ganesh, because I know sometimes there are ups and downs, but together as a team, collectively, we can do that. So I just want to share, I think very soon, we'll be having these meditations every day from QLU. So that would be wonderful. We all can collectively meditate. That's how we can raise our vibration. We can support each other. We can help each other. We can really, collectively raise at this point of time.
Yes, thank you for bringing that up. And friends, we'll open the chat box now for questions. So we can have friends post questions. But also 17th of May, we are beginning this, Dr. Newton, Dr. Lakshmi will begin this. It's a 40-day program where we meditate for 1 hour every day in the evening from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. IST. And this is really something that we have learned as a practice to be essential. While we may do whatever we do in the physical area, it is so important to tame the monkey mind, which we have learned, for all of Dr. Newton, Dr. Lakshmi's students. We have learned that essentially it's about becoming a master of the mind and not letting those thoughts of fear will still come. It's like a monkey which is jumping from the past to the future, and not to feed bananas to that monkey. How to make sure the monkey doesn't get too many bananas. So fear, the monkey of fear will come, and it wants to jump from one fearful thought to another fearful thought. But we do not give any bananas to this, and that we bring our attention to being in the present moment, like the deers is actually giving birth in the present moment. That's what they focus. If the deer had that was feeding the thought, oh, lion will eat me, oh, lion will eat me, then the deer is lost. So meditation is really what the deer did was giving birth. What can I control? Can I be in this moment? And 40 days we have learned is an important period, and it's a significant period where we can practice this. So thank you for arranging this. And friends, we will send you an email with the details. We have all the friends, we can send you a follow-up email. And also, our dear friends from QLU are also here. If we can ask Divya, if you can, or Harika can post the details in the chat box of the meditation and how friends can join from the 17th of May, I think till the 25th of June, we have this. And we have some other announcements. We'll come to that later. But let's take some questions. I have a question here from Dr. Jayesh Shah. He says, please guide seekers who find their patterns and tendencies recurring, even after good therapy and good relief. How to manage the inner voice and unhealthy emotional patterns in the long run. Since COVID situation is also a big trigger for inner conflicts and tendencies to surface. For many therapists and patients who have done well and worked on their issues. So even it is surfacing for those who are relatively able to manage. Ma'am, sir?
Yeah.
Yes, Dr. Jayesh, it's wonderful to hear you and voicing out this question on behalf of many people you are speaking. So we need to know that it's an ongoing process. Our self-development, expansion of our awareness and consciousness is an ongoing process. And even the healing is a journey. It's a beautiful journey. And we heal not only just physically healing the symptoms, but it's so important to what is behind the physicality, the mind, emotions. We all know that mind-body connections, and we have to go further back till we connect to the soul part of us, the spirit part of us, which is the greater force that is existing in the universe. We have such infinite energy which we can awaken, and so that we don't fall into these recurring patterns. These patterns are just, reminders. It's like a triggers for us to journey towards our own consciousness, which is like a beyond time space, Actually, all these patterns which are emerging right now for people, it's all triggers. This COVID is a trigger, biggest trigger. And our inner child is wounded again and very fearful. But at this time, we need to also focus on our wiser part of our soul, wiser aspect of our consciousness, which is the most wisest. In everyone, there is a Buddha, there is God in everyone. Our Vedas, Upanishads talked about it.
Like, for example, whatever you resist persists. Whatever you deny, it just comes back. So in this situation, exactly the same thing has happened. Whatever we have been denying, whatever we have been resisting, it just showed up, my dear friends. So whenever there is pain, whenever there is panic, whenever there is a difficult situation, we all come together. We do something. But once that situation improves a little bit, then everybody is off. So that's what is happening. It's not a 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, 40-day process. It's a continuous journey. So this meditation, we just need to continue. It's a journey, my dear friends. Working on ourselves is also a journey. So I just want to share, like, for example, this is about Mullah Nasruddin. One day he went to the doctor, he was ill. So the doctor attended to him, and after that he gave the bill. So Mullah said, "Doctor, this is so expensive. How come, the bill is, a big amount?" So then the doctor said, "Mullah, I visited your house 11 times when you were ill. So that's why the bill is so, huge." So then Mullah said, "Doctor, you should not forget that I was the one who went around and infected the whole community. And all those people came to your clinic. So maybe if I shared this maybe a year back, all of us would have laughed. But this is a situation right now. The same thing is happening. So everybody needs to take that responsibility. It's not something others have to teach us. Every day, just simple things like wearing the mask or, all these things. Every day we are listening 1,000 times. If everyone feels responsible, and I have met people, they just say that, I don't get COVID. Maybe you will not get COVID, but you are infecting so many people. So it's a social responsibility. So every individual, they have to feel responsible. They have to take the responsibility. So I just want to share a few things, what we can do physically at the physical level. So the first thing is taking responsibility, the self-responsibility, not only for ourselves, for everyone around us. And at this point of time, the best thing to do is seva. In whatever way we can do. You can sit at home and support so many people who need support. That's also seva. I was just explaining, if you can just give food, give money, knowledge, meditation. So in so many different ways, we can do this service, my dear friends. And the third thing is stopping this complaining, criticizing, and focusing all our energies to find solutions. What solutions can we find at this point of time, right now? What can I do? And the next thing is we have only two choices, whether to just, just worry about whatever is happening and just, becoming worsen, or accepting the reality and just, moving forward. These are only two choices we have right now. And then when we accept everything as it is, and then let some beautiful things, like, welcome beauty into your life, because we have been focusing so much on the pain. We have been focusing so much, and we are trying to forget some good things. Like, for example, today we are able to meet all of us together. And we are so lucky, all of us, to have the company of each other. So feeling grateful for this opportunity, feeling grateful to each other so that we could just learn something and we could elevate our energy. We could raise our vibration, my dear friends. Because when that acceptance happens, you can always be grateful to that source of happiness. But tomorrow, if you don't have that source of happiness, don't complain. Don't demand that this source of happiness should stay with me. That's not complete acceptance. So being grateful for what we have right now at this point of time. So right now, we are all able to sit at home. The universe has given us this opportunity to go within. And to look into ourselves. Then only we can understand the reasons behind it, and then only we can find solutions to move forward.
Dr. Jayesh, another thing is we need to have strong anchors on daily basis. For example, you said about the patterns which are surfacing and which are old patterns, which are recurring patterns. Sometimes when we recognize them, it's like a 50% diagnosis is over. And then only thing is we need to look at that wiser part of us, which can coach, which can teach this vulnerable part of us, which is actually going through these patterns, like a pattern of fear, a pattern of, having self-sabotage patterns, or it is loneliness pattern that is sometimes shows up during this kind of situations. And the strong anchors can be like meditation practice on daily basis and reading spiritual books. Beautiful the books which are so inspiring. Carry the book with you in your home, and every day one chapter in that book, like Neil Donald Walsh and Richard Bach is my favorite, and so many masters. We recently read a book by Tapasvi Maharaj. We highly recommend his autobiography. His biography was written by his student disciple. He's a Himalayan master. We understand about what kind of wisdom exists, So he lived for 180 years. He faced so many challenges. A new perspective. We need to change our perspective now, even towards current situation, pandemic. And we need to view the situation from a different set of eyes. Then we feel more peaceful, even though there is turmoil everywhere. There is chaos everywhere. We feel very stable and we feel very connected. There's something, a purpose emerges for all of us. There's something that is connecting all of us right now. We're all one. But during this time, actually, we are coming together as one. That's not a just theoretical aspect like Ganesh, Preeti, AHA movement, AHA team brought everyone today onto one common platform. This is like oneness we are all experiencing. We are exchanging through this conversation, through this dialogue.
Thank you, Ganesh. Thank you, Preeti. And thank you, Dr. Jayesh, for this wonderful question.
Yes, thank you, ma'am, sir. So I'll take couple of quick questions before we go into the meditation. One question is from Vikas Shakya. What is the actual difference between fear and preparation? If I start preparation, is that fear?
Okay.
And maybe you can take, and then I'll take maybe one more question.
Okay. So, Ms. Vikas, actually, precautions is okay. That's not. That's perfectly perfect, because, for example, you don't have fear and you go out. I don't have fear and COVID cannot do anything to me. You have a belief, but you go out and it is foolishness, actually. Precautions are always necessary. Whatever this physical body need to sustain, need to survive, because without this body, there's no question of enlightenment. There's no question of
meditation, enlightenment.
Nothing really. It's so important to preserve our bodies, but we can actually make this body very healthy, even though there is so much of fear around us, by actually whatever we talked about, like meditation practice which relaxes you, which actually your reptilian brain will be calming down, and your neocortex, this neocortex which can generate new thought forms, new intentions, which really creates new reality.
Yeah.
Actually, collectively, as we raise our vibrations, we come out of the fear. But precautions is okay. But fear
should not rule us. Fear should not grip us. Fear should not drown us.
It comes to us, but we can minimize the fear. Like Ganesh said about, from 100% scale of 100% to bring it to 50%. As you meditate, as you understand your nature of the soul, nature of consciousness, because that really takes us to the greater levels of acceptance. Acceptance is a journey. It's many levels, many layers are there in the acceptance. Even resistance is also part of the journey to acceptance. First we resist, but we come to understand more we resist, more we are frightened, more we are fearful, more it is disastrous. And we go to the next level, next layer of acceptance, acknowledgement. Acknowledging is not like agreeing. Acknowledging is being aware of what is in front of you. We don't need to agree to COVID, whatever is happening, or deaths that are happening, but acknowledge. And there are so many deaths. We give place in our hearts for all those people who lost their lives, and all those grieving ones, all that suffering, we give place in our hearts for them, because it's collectively we can do something. But the next stage is we go to the next step of 50% acceptance, raising our levels of consciousness, wisdom. We can actually slowly expand. Yes. Like all the research done by spiritual scientists says mind-body connections, mind-body soul connections. We can do something in raising our own immunity levels, the herd immunity. So, for example, this is the second wave, but there could be possibility of third wave, fourth wave, sixth wave. So, where is the end? So, best thing is what we can do within our control is raising our own inner immunity. There was a great story from Mahabharata I want to share on this occasion, which is actually a viral shared through WhatsApp and Facebook everywhere. This is called the story of Ashwadhama. You might have heard about this great warrior Ashwadhama, who is on the Kaurava side, on the evil side. And there are Ashwadhama, after losing his father, Dronacharya, he was so much of grief and so much of pain was there. He was so angry. That day he decided to completely, kill everyone, all the Pandavas. And he got one astra, one weapon. It's known as Narayan Astra. It's called very dangerous missile, more powerful than any strongest missile that we have right now. 1,000 missiles, more Sahasra missiles equal to that Narayan Astra. So he released that. It has certain characteristic features. This weapon, once it is released, it's bound to kill the enemy, whoever is the opponent. But on certain conditions, it won't do harm. The conditions are, if there is no opposition, there is no resistance from outside, from opponents, then it will slow down. And if they surrender in that moment, if they accept total acceptance, and totally it withdraws. And Lord Shri Krishna, on the battleground, he advised Pandavas, we can do something now. Narayana, nobody can face it. Even I cannot face it. We have to put down all our weapons. Let us keep all things down and let us meditate. He actually made everyone to close their eyes and meditate. Because once the mind is active, once the eyes are open, we'll be very actively thinking, So you might produce a negative thought, an opposing and resisting thought, which actually can kill you. You will be killed by the Narayana Astra. So in that moment, except Bhima, Bhimasen is one of the brothers Pandavas. So he said, how dare, I am the most Balwan, I am the most powerful man. I will not surrender to Ashwadhama, I will not surrender to Narayanastra, nothing. I will fight. So initially he was resisting, but finally all of them convinced Bhima also to meditate on the battleground. And what happened is Narayanastra totally gone back. It can be used only one time, it seems. It's a great story. It's very relevant to this current moments. There is a great, this Astra was released, Corona Astra, COVID Astra, and definitely it is going to has an impact massively on the humanity. And we don't know, more we resist, more we try to fight, instead of dealing with it is good. The better word that we use is dealing with COVID,
Not fighting.
not fighting with COVID. It's not battling, it's instead we use our inner resources. Meditation is a powerful inner resource. Never to forget this. We have such an amazing power to raise our immunity, to access cosmic energy. We can constantly re-energize our lungs, our heart, and our organs in the body. We can do something now. And like Narayanastra, when it is released, and how we go on, and we just like a tortoise going back into itself, meditating. In the same way, we also do that. So thanks, Vikas, and it's okay to take precautions, but when fear is
It's
coming,
different.
look at the fear from your corner of the eyes, and okay, immediately deal with it. How you deal with it is really it's coming from our vulnerable part of us, and there's a greater part of you, the soul part of you, is the most beautiful part. This is the most powerful aspect of our human consciousness, which can deal with this vulnerable child part, which is fearing. So that's how we can deal with the fears. We need to embrace the vulnerable part. In that moment, the fear also vanishes.
Yeah, it's like you're sitting in a field and you're just looking at the sky. The clouds are just passing. You're just observing the clouds. The same way, the fear, anger, so many different things, they're just passing. But if you're just sitting in the field looking at the sky, and if you want to control the clouds, I want the cloud this way, this shape, this form, then you are resisting. So meditation helps you to just look at everything, the fear, everything passes, and it helps you to be in that state where you realize your potential, your strength, your power.
Thank you, sir, ma'am. I think it's so important what you have shared towards the end, that meditation and acceptance is not about inaction. It is not about being passive. It's not about being unprepared. It's not about not taking precautions. That meditation and acceptance is actually only going to help us to deal in a much better way. Rather than fighting from COVID, we learn from COVID. Rather than resisting COVID, we acknowledge that it is there, and at the same time, we do what is in our control. So it's so beautiful. And with that, we really now need to learn and to meditate, because we would all want to really, experience meditation. So Dr. Newton, Dr. Lakshmi, please, if you can lead us into a short meditation. And
Yes.
Friends, all of us can join in on the meditation. And after that, we will, for all of Dr. Newton, Dr. Lakshmi's students, they can stay back for a short surprise. If others want to stay back, they're welcome. Be our guests. And right after the meditation, we'll come back. Sir, over to you.
Yeah.
Yes, Ganesh, and actually maybe after meditation, if we still have time, some more questions can be taken, because there's so many questions to our many friends.
Yes, actually, a lot of questions were there, but I was not sure about your time and availability.
I think let's take few more questions
Few
for
more.
5 more minutes, and
Okay.
one-line answers.
Yeah.
That would
Okay,
be
one
good.
line.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
so let's
yeah.
do quickly. We'll go through 5 questions.
Yes.
Sushil Bagadia ji said, fine, hope and faith are the only way, totally accepted. What is God's responsibility to keep our faith alive? Will it not be too late for God to get into action?
Okay, so sometimes we can't understand the bigger plan of the universe. We don't know yet. So sometimes we throw the responsibility on God, and instead we need to look at what we can do from here as a human being, as a citizen of this world. You know, instead of asking right now why question, instead ask how to deal with this. Why takes us into more victim consciousness, the question why, but instead let us understand how to deal with it. And the God and those other forces, guides, masters, and light beings, they let them do their work. And but we need to take our responsibility. Our responsibility is to meditate, to transcend all the fears and limitations that are really bothering us, and even holding the hands of all the other co-human, fellow beings, all the people, being compassionate, holding everyone.
Only when we can go beyond this mind, then we understand that why. First, we need to do this. Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you. Sean says, what happens to your soul when you die? Do my deeds on earth decide my life after death? Is there a heaven or hell? A lot of people are asking this question since death feels so near and alive. Death feels so near and alive.
Yes, there are many realms of consciousness beyond this physical realm. So earth is not just the only place. That does not mean that it's end. Actually, the physical journey is ending here. There's a greater journey of the soul which continues even after death. So there are many planes. We call them metaphorically certain lower astral planes, we call them hells, and higher astral planes, we call them heavens. But it's only for our understanding. But there are many realms, many kinds of planes.
That doesn't mean we have to aspire for that. As long as we are here, we have a purpose, we have meaning. So we have to live our life fully with respect and purpose.
Thank you.
I can share about a book you can read, the questionnaire, and many of the friends who ask this question. About life after death, life after life. There is a book by Dr. Raymond Moody.
Yeah,
he's a medical doctor. He's a cardiologist. He worked in a cardiology unit. He observed many people actually literally dying, and who has come back into their lives, called near-death experience phenomena. He documented thousands of cases. And it's such a beautiful to understand from the perspective from a scientist.
Yeah.
Not only from the spiritual perspective, even a scientist who is also very open-minded could validate that there is something that beyond this birth and death.
Yeah, and that's a science. It's by itself. And if you're interested, our friends can help you to
study. You have to come to QLU. We have to get you to experience. Okay, I'll take 2 more questions. Shankar says, energy-wise, what is COVID? Is it evil or part of Mother Earth?
It's not evil, not a good force. It's neutral. Every energy is a neutral only. But right now this is creating some impact on us. We are making certain assumptions right now. This is bad and this is good, and we don't know yet. This is like a mystery. We consider from the earthly point of view, this is very bad. This is evil force. But from a different perspective, it could be, something on the planet Earth. Maybe it is making entire species to evolve to the next, ladder of evolution, next step.
So right now we are too small to interpret about that, about this evolutionary force. So the best way is to just meditate, to go beyond the mind and to understand what's happening around.
Generally, we try to label, good, bad from the mind, and we interpret, we assume a lot of things,
Yeah.
but never there is no end.
Yeah.
Always there is a new beginnings, and even the bodies we are vacating, but still it's not the end. We have lived so many lifetimes. This is not new. This is another lifetime, another journey. For example, this body has become a little bit old and torn and worn out, and I just discard it. I leave it here and take new body, fresh body. That's all.
Yeah.
Thank you. Another question, Ganesh.
Actually, there are quite a few. I can take a few more. Pinky has a why question. I don't know if you want a why question.
No problem.
Why this whole game of creation, happiness and suffering? Why do we, the divine, move away from the divine to enter this cycle only to emerge back into divine? Why?
Okay. Why? Okay. I ask you one more question. Why there is summer, hot summer? I don't like it. Nobody likes the hot summer, 45 degrees centigrade right now in certain parts of South India. So it's very tough. And we don't like certain rainy season, storms, cyclones coming. But it's part of the cyclical seasonal changes on planet Earth. There is duality. There is a polarity on planet Earth. There is sickness, there is health. There is a decay, the death, and there is a greater rejuvenation and life.
Yeah.
And always the polarity is the truth in the physical realm. But our souls are completely non-dual. Completely, they reside in a different kind of consciousness. It's non-duality. More we understand the oneness state of our soul, and then we can really understand this game here, this play here.
Yeah.
It's like polarities will do come. I should not complain with summers or winters. If I argue with summer, I don't like you, don't come. We don't like sun, I don't like sun. Only moon must be there on planet Earth. What happens? The whole ecosystem will be damaged.
So we have taken up this challenge and we have come here to go through these dual experiences and to go beyond the duality to understand ourselves. And after coming here, we have forgotten. Now we just need to remember that.
Remember non-dual state and play with the duality. Here with a greater understanding. Duality affects us definitely, but you will not be affected. Impact will be less when you are living from that non-dual state of understanding.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, Ganesh.
So more
Another
questions
question?
or more?
Yes. We are liking this conversation, our conversation.
Okay.
Good.
Anushika says, so a miracle happened for the deer and one danger took care of the other while it focused on giving birth. Should we also wait for miracles to get out of this situation?
No, you do your best. You do your best. We don't need to. Sometimes we do our best, but still something happens. That's why it is called complete acceptance. We need to be in that state. Only then something opens. Many doors will open, but we don't need to do for that. We just need to live in this moment. We don't need to focus on the future, but we just need to live this moment with meaning and purpose. And there is a beautiful saying that live as if this is going to be the last moment, with so much of meaning and purpose, and learn as if you're going to live forever. So that's what we have to practice right now. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Radha says, I don't want to take vaccine. Since I believe in naturopathy and Ayurveda, is that a wise approach?
Okay. Actually, it's a preference based, and it's a choice, individual's choice. Some they are not, feeling like it's a good choice for them. for their bodies. And if they take forcibly because a family member forced them, they might get a strong reaction to the vaccination. So even if someone has that fear but wanted to try, wanted to have vaccination, we say, go ahead. Medical scientists have worked so hard, almost a year, 1 year, they worked so hard developing these vaccines.
Follow your heart, follow your heart, because it's a temporary solution. That's not the permanent solution, but there are so many things which are helping us. If you feel it helps you, go for it.
Because,
if you feel it don't.
I have few friends and meditation friends who said we develop an inner vaccine, through meditation. They raising their own immunity levels. And, for them, it is not required. They said, we don't want to be vaccinated. It's okay. We must respect everyone's choice. And if someone feels it's perfectly all right, it's part of the creation. Vaccine is part of the creation. It has come and it is protective, 80% to 90% it is protective for 2 years at least. It's good.
So listen to that inner voice in your meditation and just follow that. Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much, sir, ma'am. I think we can go into a short meditation.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we'll come back and see if there is still one or
Yes,
two.
yes.
Sure. We can take that.
So, friends, this meditation is going to be very short and very, very sweet because we like this method. First, we initially begin with what is called breath awareness, Anapanasati. Later, at the end, last 5 minutes, we do a very creative visualization process, a creative visualization, which is going to be so helpful. I taught this to so many people. It helped them so much. Like we all carried right now so many inner images, whatever the news that we heard and listened to and seen in the televisions is still there. It's really triggering our, reactions and adrenergic surge in us. Catecholamines are secreting in our bodies. It's not beneficial to us. And these inner images need to be shifted. So, for example, you give an inner image to the fear, sadness, grief, and all that what we are facing right now, the pain and suffering, even the collective trauma. One image, for example, a gray, thorny, and like cloudy kind of image. Or you want to give a kind of image, one Rakshasa face, an evil face to it. That's an image right now, for example, we are all having, and we shift that. Creative visualization is a great power that we all have to change our thoughts, our emotional energies, shift them to something very, very beautiful, positive. For example, the positive image, like health for everyone, like a happy faces, smiling faces, could be maybe the positive image that we want to see. So, or the sun which is shining, or the rainbow which is coming back, maybe a bird which is now flying freely in the blue sky, could be really a positive image. So we shift the image to a positive image and we hold that positive image in our, this third eye, this Agya Chakra, the mind's eye, for some time. And then we come out of the meditation. So this is going to be approximately around 15 minutes. We're going to meditate together. The group meditation is very powerful. All of us doing it together, it generates such a powerful collective energy, which helps everyone. Okay, friends, you can close your eyes, except those who are driving your cars and listening to it.
Yeah.
You focus on only mindfulness. Listen to it, but don't close your eyes. But if you are at your homes and you're relaxed, you can close your eyes
and meditate.
Yeah. Right now, you may close your eyes and sit in a comfortable posture. You can clasp your hands, join your fingers, keep them in your lap. Sit in a comfortable posture. You can take support if you want. support for your backbone. You can lean back and let go of all the tightness, all the stress, all the tensions that's stored in your body right now. I'd like you to give attention to your normal, natural breathing process. Normal, natural breath. You can focus on it. When you're inhaling, become aware of the inhalation. When you're exhaling, become aware of the exhalation. And there's a slight pause between inhalation and exhalation. You can focus on it also. And just slow down your mind, slow down your thoughts, totally relax. Nothing to think about. No need to think about the past, no need to think about what's happening around the globe right now, what's happening outside. Nothing to think about, nothing to project into the future, nothing to worry about the future right now. Just meditation is staying in this moment, now and here. Collectively, all of us, we join through our breaths. This is a very powerful life force that's entering into our entire system, the physical system. Through breath, we are accessing so much of energy, oxygen and energy. So let's focus on the breath.
As you're breathing in, breathe in the fresh healing energies into your body. As you're breathing out, breathe out all that stress, all those fears. With each breath, allow yourself to reach to that inner state of silence. Allow yourself to go deeper and deeper, deeper and deeper.
As the mind slows down, notice what's happening to your breathing. Even the breathing slows down as the thoughts in your mind slowing down. You'll notice so many things in your breath. Just watch your breath. We have such a sacred body. Our body is a sacred temple. And our soul is really the God. The soul in us, which is residing in the body, is really the God.
Your breath is the life force. As you align yourself with your breath, you can feel the prana, that life force, entering into your body. Each and every cell in your body is absorbing that prana, that life force. Each and every cell in your body is being energized with the prana, with the life force.
Allow yourself to reach to the deeper place within you where time, space dissolves, where you experience this no time, no space, vast, unlimited beingness. Watch and observe. In this utter silence, what is happening at all the levels of your consciousness, physically, mentally, emotionally, intellectually, spiritually. Just notice, observe what is happening in you. and observe the observer in you. Become aware of the awareness itself. Become conscious of the consciousness, which is beyond time space. It is beyond birth and death. Embrace this total stillness within you. The routine thoughts in your mind, which has completely subsided, where your mind is tranquil and serene. Chitta vritti nirodha state, where cessation of all the routine thoughts. Just be fully present. Notice what's happening in you.
Just observe. Just witness. You're not this body. You have this body. You are not your thoughts. You have these thoughts. You are not your emotions. You have these emotions. Witness, observe. In this witnessing state, allow yourself to experience this deep silence, this stillness.
At this moment, as your mind becomes totally calm, quiet, still, in this deep stillness, I would like you to shift the inner images, whatever that in the recent times, because of the pandemic, all that fear that was aroused, all that trauma that you have accumulated subconsciously, all the sadness, grief that you had when you lost your loved ones, you represent symbolically all this with an inner image. Give one image, one impression, one picture to it. At this moment, you can shift that image, which is symbolically representing the fear, sadness, anger, to all that stress, and change that to a positive image, a different image. Totally shift it. Your mind has that great power. As a human being, we all have that power. From this stillness, let's all intend for this new image, a healthy image, a happy image, symbolically represent that new state of being, the ideal you or the future you that you'd like to see yourself as. And shift now the old image, make it smaller and smaller, and let it totally dissolve into this new image. The positive image, you make it bigger and bigger, let it occupy your whole mind screen. You can be just playful with it, just be playful. Shift that inner image and hold that new image, which is symbolically representing your freedom state. You're free from the fear, from all that, your vulnerable self is going through, all that accumulated inner trauma. Just breathe now. Take a deep breath now. And let us send this new image into the universe. This is what we are all collectively intending. Swatir bhavatu, santir bhavatu. Loka samastha sukhino bhavantu. Our collective intentions for everyone on this planet Earth. That there be more health, that there be more awakening, more transformations, that there be more peace on our planet Earth.
In this empowered state, connecting to your inner power, to your inner strength, send this loving energy to each and every one on this planet Earth. Experiencing this love in your heart, in your being. Send this loving prayer. May I be happy. May I be healthy. May I be free from suffering. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you free yourself from the suffering. May you be free. Let this divine vibration spread to each and every being on this planet Earth. May every being on this planet Earth be happy. May every being on this planet Earth be healthy. May every being on this planet Earth be free.
At this moment, I'd like you to slowly return to this present moment. Whenever you are ready, you may place your hands on your eyes. Just another 10 seconds, 5 seconds, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Take your time to slowly open your eyes, dear friends. That's wonderful. Welcome back.
you so much. That was so beautiful. Thank you. Thank you to all our friends on Facebook for joining. We are going to continue here, but we say thank you to all our friends on Facebook and gratitude for your presence. Please follow. You are on the QLU channel. Please follow and the work of Dr. Newton and Dr. Lakshmi, and you can benefit from several of the programs. And we hope to welcome you back for another one of these conversations soon. Thank you for joining.
And Ganesh, I just want to end with a beautiful quote from Buddha. If you focus on the pain, you create suffering. If you focus on the lesson, you grow. So, my dear friends, let us all make conscious choices so that we can shift the vibration on this planet Earth, and we can all co-create a beautiful paradise on this earth where each and every being can live with peace and joy. The plant kingdom, the mineral kingdom, the animal kingdom, the human kingdom, all of us can coexist because this is our planet Earth. We are all one family. We need to care for each other. We need to support each other. We need to serve Mother Nature. So if we can learn this lesson and if we can understand that pain is the same for every being, then we respect all beings on this planet Earth. So let us all come together and create a paradise on this planet Earth. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. But we are not going anywhere because now a big secret I have to tell all our friends.
Oh,
the secret is that today is Dr. Lakshmi's birthday. So we are going to sing happy birthday. And we are going to also play her favorite song. So all of us, of course, friends who are students can stay, but other friends who joined also. And we are going to do a Zoom dance, Zoom celebration.
oh.